Rock here. How you guys doing? Just a heads up, I am not going live tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off, but I wanted to touch base with you guys. And basically, hey, the Discord, if you haven't joined the Discord, join it. I'm probably going to get some content that is specific for Discord members only, and I'm going to cap it off at 150 members. I'm shutting the door at 150 members, so if you haven't clicked that link and joined the Discord, I'm going to keep, getting down and dirty with people in the trenches of the trading world. I'm truly excited about it, and I'm going to keep just doing what I do, and it's just been quite an exciting time. A lot on the horizon for ticker IGPK, RMRK, ILUS, QIND, and many, many others. So, listen, click that link and join us. I'm capping it off at 150, like I said. But until then, and until next week, check out these most recent clips from my due diligence, my live chats with people in the trenches of the trading world. Let's check it out. PR, guys, I'm going to read this straight through for you. All right. Integrated Cannabis Solutions announces acquisition of the Tahoe Group and expansion to the East Coast. All right. This strategic addition empowers Houdini Group to enter the delivery sector, providing a virtual store experience with the cost efficiency of a traditional retail model. Furthermore, Genesis Distribution, recognized for its exceptional service, ensures secure and prompt delivery of cannabis products to licensed brick-and-mortar retailers throughout California. Our distribution license grants us end-to-end control over the manufacturing process, eliminating intermediaries. The light manufacturing license enables the production of a variety of infused products such as edibles, popcorn, and bath bombs. The addition of the Tahoe Group is a significant milestone for Houdini Group, said Gene Kaizo, CEO of Integrated Cannabis, who's with us tonight, of course. This acquisition rounds out our presence in the California cannabis market and positions us for continued growth in the years to come. In an exciting development, Houdini Group is expanding its operations to the East Coast, establishing a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Florida. This facility will have the capacity to produce both THC and CBD products, and we will be relocating equipment from California to support this expansion. We are excited to expand our business to the East Coast, said Kaizo. This is a growing market with a lot of potential. We believe that our vertically integrated business model and our experience in the California market will give us a competitive advantage in the East Coast market. Houdini Group Incorporated is a leading vertically integrated cannabis operator with operations in California and Florida. The company is committed to providing high-quality cannabis products to its customers and is focused on expanding its business in both the California and East Coast markets. So that's a pretty meaty PR. So you guys are going East Coast. Gene, tell us more about this. Go.
Well, we're looking, in fact, I've already looked at space because it would make sense for me to put Consolidated and this into the same location so I can keep my eyes on it on a day-to-day basis. By doing this and entering into CBD also, it'll give us worldwide capability. We can ship that anywhere in the world. We're excited about it. It does what we like to do, which is vertically integrate ourselves. It allows Tom transportation everywhere. We get to control our own transportation, which is a tricky part of the business.
Yeah, right on. I mean, like you're talking about literally doubling your output, an output that literally, I know literally, I'm going to say that's the Jord word. By the way, Jord's going to be joining us later. Doubling it. And if you look at the numbers
it's staggering.
It's staggering. Like I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. So what are, if you could elaborate a little bit, what are some of your projections, going forward into quarter three? I know you guys had a solid quarter two. We're closing quarter three into quarter four and quarter one of next year. What are you thinking? What's on your mind right now?
I mean, what's on my mind is to dumb down the numbers a little bit because they're mind-boggling. And I'm really trying to get my arms around the numbers that are that staggering. Add to that the brand license, which I spoke to you about the other day. That's going back and forth with the attorneys. Just a few words need to be changed. So hopefully in the coming days, you'll hear that. That'll be something that adds a whole nother layer to this thing. I don't even want to give you projections yet. Yeah. It's not how much can you make. It's how much can you reliably produce, because the sky's the limit. It's not it's a question of supply.
Mm.
You know, Tom will
Yeah.
tell you as fast as you can. Also, hey Tom, that big thing, you know, the big jar you were holding full of distillate.
Sure.
That was 45, give or take, $4,500 worth of distillate.
Correct.
Now, I want to be clear. That's, you know, that's not profit. That's just what that would sell for.
Oh yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, just want to make sure. A lot of people automatically think you're making $4,500 off of everything like that.
Yes, and you know, on this channel we have discussed the difference between revenue and net profit. You know,
yeah, those are dramatically different.
But you know what? Companies that have that high revenue, that's what we're looking for. Like I do look at revs. You know, obviously you want your net profit.
Cash flow matters.
It does. Your in and out matters absolutely. And when you limit liabilities, when you increase revenues, it gives you a better chance to retain higher net profits. So the potential's there. Could you imagine if safe banking gets under control and and that whole thing lines up? Where do you see you guys positioning yourself? And I'm just throwing this question out there. If they do legalize it straight across the board and leave it to states, which most states will, and a lot of states are, how do you see integrated diving into that?
I think we'd wait for one of the big cigarette manufacturers to write us a magically enormous check.
Have you thought about it? Have you had any targets?
You can't think about it. You can't, because then you just go and go. It gets bigger and bigger and huge. I mean,
would you need
enormous.
a special license for that?
What, for federal?
Yeah, no,
there will.
Yeah, well, so basically, yeah, I'm just I don't know. Like everything's speculative now because they haven't passed it federally yet. So they're dragging their feet, and it's always back and forth when they very well could. We all know that they don't really serve us; they serve themselves up east.
I mean, they've got to be looking at the revenue stream, going, "Why aren't we?"
It blows my happen. It blows my mind because imagine the taxes they could get from us. It's just crazy. It really is. And so, when Tom's talking about those numbers, when you guys are talking about those numbers, that's freaking huge. And so
it's monstrous. I want to go back to that jar again. How many liters were in that jar, do you think?
It's about 3 liters.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I just wanted to be clear. From the jar like that, it could have been anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like a 2-year supply of fun right there. I don't know.
3,000
but we never get you to do the show.
Right? I'd be sleeping in the corner.
Where's Eric? I don't know.
Hey, where'd he go? Then Rob would have to jump on here, or George. But no, that's remarkable. So, and this is what I'm looking for. And this is just my personal opinion. This is not financial advice. I'm going to say this. If you're doing this now, and there's not there's a lot of storefronts now. There's not a lot of guys doing what you do, even though there are, but there's not distilleries, every corner, there's not. And like Tom was saying, what you need is more business, because you can supply for every single state if given the capabilities, especially now that you're doubling your operation. I think about this, and like I said, not financial advice. This is just my opinion. When you see companies like this expanding, when you see companies like this having revenue potentials that are in the tens of millions of dollars, I mean, the sky is the limit. And I know that you've used that term before, Gene, talking with you privately. The sky is the limit.
It's the Wild West, baby.
It is. It is. It's amazing. I honestly hope that I want you guys to be successful. Not just because I'm a shareholder, but I've come to know you pretty well. And I'd like to see good people succeed. I do. That's what this is all about.
We're trying, No one gets out alive. You might as well have some fun while you're here and make it happen.
That's right. We have a couple extra questions. John Don, do you ship worldwide or only the U.S.?
Tom, you want to grab that, or you want me to?
Only inside the state of California. That's it.
Right. Houdini will allow us to change that.
Yep. And that is because, and I had a call
Tahoe, rather,
with Guillermo Rodriguez, and we talked about basically the fact that you can't ship in between Oregon and Washington and California. It's insane that they haven't had an interstate deal, at this point. It's just mind blowing that they can't do it properly to where you guys can get the product. It's just,
you use the word interstate. Who owns the interstates? Federal government.
yeah. That's the lockup. Here, Michael Singleton has a question. When do you think the name change will be complete? I know you talked a little bit about that last time.
No. There's, I think it takes about, we've reserved a new name in Nevada. New council will be filing with FINRA in the coming weeks. And I believe from filing, it takes approximately 6 weeks to happen.
Are you prepared?
After the full, and that's after the full review.
Are you prepared to, go through hell and high water? Because we all know, and I've talked to people on the show, many CEOs, many companies, where FINRA can be a complete pain in the ass when it comes to a name change. Are you prepared to fork over all past filings and all the crap from like before you guys were even involved in IGPK?
We've already got it. It's already put together. And as big of a pain in the ass as they can be, we can be a big pain in the ass too. You just got to stay. No, you got to stay on them too.
Yeah,
it's the squeaky wheel. You got to they terrorize you. You got to terrorize them.
That's right. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's true. OTC Forever, one of my favorite subscribers. Been following a long time, and he has some pretty funny posts on the Twitter. So give him a check. With IGPK acquiring other companies, what other sectors does Gene foresee the company expanding to in the next 5 years? And I could say one is AI. So
bingo. That's and we'll see what comes around. But staying in the sector of cannabis and apparel, once again, you've noticed today what Tom's done. The sky's the limit in just cannabis. As far as apparel goes, we'll probably expand the apparel business, and we'll dabble in others such as AI. And AI is moving along. It's what I told you. They've already got products in development and products that are being used. So we'll see where that all goes. But right now, I would say any industry is open. The only reason AI is just so interesting at this point. But any other industry, I would like to think, should be tailored to Tom's world and my world, apparel and cannabis. How does it help it?
Apparel and cannabis. Yeah, I'm excited to hear, in the future how you guys come along with that AI acquisition. And obviously, I know there's only so much you can tell me now because you're in sort of the preliminary stages of this acquisition. But it's going to be exciting. You guys are building like a little mini conglomerate, and it's pretty cool. But how many countries are you in conversation with now? And how many countries do you have contracts with? And do you see that expanding?
Wow. When you talk about in conversation, over a dozen.
Wow.
Countries that are with contracts, and I want to be careful as a NASDAQ company, countries that we have contracts and agreements with, also a dozen. Okay, also a dozen, if not more. But why is it important that I explain it and share it with you this way? Here's the misconception, and I think most of the time it's in the OTC world, Eric, and I'll speak to it, right? I've had experience in that world too, and I always thought I didn't belong because I didn't know how to play in that world, right? Why? Ayurveda's been always so busy taking care of our customers, solving hard problems, and man, trying to get technology to work the way our customers desire for it to work. I have no time to be concerned about anything else but what we are deploying and executing on behalf of these agencies, customers, and different, in different countries. So when I say we've got agreements and contracts, it's not like in a miracle firework that all of a sudden there's a press release, boom, they did. You know how much work is involved to deploy an actual technology application down a street corner? It takes time, effort, permits and labor, no matter how cool the tech is. And I just had to share that because a lot of people just think that things happen overnight and expect a public company to put out firework PR, but that's not to say hang tight. IVDA's got a lot of exciting opportunities that we're executing on right now, Eric, and we're operating at a very sophisticated level. I'm happy to tout that. Again, I'm not out there selling a million hotcakes and hope to do it over again next month. We're building solutions that's going to last for the life of the community. Once we put something in, Eric, it's not about it. Oh, you're not going to get bored of IVDA's technology and products. It's going to be part of your life. So as we deploy what's part of your life, you know, it's going to take some time to scale. But once we scale, I've heard from a CEO that I look up to a lot. I'll drop his name too. He's a former CEO of Telmex USA, Jorge Rodriguez, one of my mentors. I see him as. He says, David, you don't just make an elephant take a step. You can't force an elephant to move. But once an elephant decides to take that step, you also cannot stop that elephant. This is what IVDA's markets represent. Not anybody can enter the market that we are in, because you got to know how to play it. You got to know how to tend to it. But man, once it scales, Eric, it's gone. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to have the need, and it's going to continue to expect more. And when you're a company that can deliver that, that's where we win. That's the difference.
Right on. I mean, I could just imagine, you know, the pressure of traveling, and you said dozens and dozens is essentially, you know, traveling for business. And what's it like having conversations with foreign government entities, and how's the reception of IVDA been? I mean, that must be a stressful thing, you know. But I mean, you obviously have a knack of a communicable ability to work with people very, very well. But what's it like?
It's like going into an amusement park and hopping on a roller coaster for the first time. You know it's going to be fun, but you're still kind of like, oh boy, who am I going to see again? Oh boy, wow, that room is pretty big, and look at those chairs. Oh my God, Eric, it never gets old. When you think you're used to something, you still get nervous. I'm still there. I don't know if it's excitement or nerves, but I enjoy it a lot, and I'm happy to share. People are nice. People are so nice around the world, and they want, just like us, just like even our shareholders who are watching this. They're curious, man. They ask me, so David, what's been going on? They want to learn from me what's happening back in the United States, right? How are things? And what do people like to see, hear, and feel? And I get to tell my story. They get to tell me their story. And then we kind of click. And once you click, no matter what level, from generals to ministers to mayors to engineer to facilities manager, it doesn't matter. Once you click on the human side, you start hearing the truth. You start hearing, man, it'd be nice if I can do this with what I've got. And oh man, I've had that for 12 years and nothing has worked. I spent $6 million on it, this, and that. You start hearing the truth. And given that fact is where I come into play. This is why I travel so much. I'm learning how to best apply IVDA technology. I'm not going around town touting, I've got AI. Man, what the heck is your AI good for if you can't solve somebody's problem? So that again, coming back to your prior question, what makes IVDA unique? I'm so excited. I don't know how to express it for you. We've made so many friends and partners and customer alliances that I'll tell you, at time of scale, it's going to be ridiculous, because we're doing things the right way. We're not forcing a product to be sold and getting a PO here just to get excited about a deal. Man, I'm building the future. I'm building a family, a global family of people who understand what IoT, how to make something smart, and actually have an answer to, why do you need this to be smart? What's it going to do for you? What's the application? So why do I know so much? Because I get to meet all these wonderful people, and they tell me all this stuff. They share with me all this stuff. It's a wealth of knowledge, man, and I'm privileged.
Yeah, in doing this, I started this channel about a year ago, and I started doing these interviews. And you know what? In the traders world, especially a lot of traders come out of the woodwork around 2020 and 2021, and they look at share price, look at charts, share price and charts. But one thing that I really wanted to capitalize on here, and I've done this, for a while now, like a couple months, especially. This is my focus: is to focus on what you just mentioned, the human element, the connectivity. Because no matter where the share price is, there are people with ambitions and goals that put a lot of work into their business. Now, whether or not businesses succeed or fail, that's one thing, but there really is a human element. And I'll tell you right now, one thing that I absolutely love is being able to connect with people like you and people with other people that have been on this channel to learn their story and really like learn how they've gotten where they are today. And I like the human element of the trader world, of the business world, because that just makes the business more, what's the word I'm trying to say? It makes it more meaningful to me when I could look in your eyes and I could see, that you're gleaming with joy talking about your team, that, and you still have that passion after 20 years. That's freaking cool. And so that's what we like to focus on here, is basically the people behind the business, people behind the ticker. Long-term retail investors feel absolutely burned by Mark and the management, like across the board. And I'm relaying, don't shoot the messenger.
I know.
But listen, I truly believe we're going to be pink current soon, and that they met the requirements, and this is in the hands of the OTC. But dude, Mark, he can communicate. Is he just choosing not to, is he doing it because he doesn't want to fuck it up? I mean, last time you were on, you said 30 days. Maybe you really felt that. But
I really did. Look, at the time, I really felt that. But
yeah,
I really did.
But in all seriousness, because you have a ton of money locked up here. You know what I mean?
Trust me, believe me. You don't have to remind me. I know it's a. Yes, it's a.
Give me a message what message do you have now to people still holding on to CYBL? And I am too. I think this is going to go PC. I think this is going to tear the face off when it does go pink current. I think we're not even prepared for it, and I think people are loading up now to buy when it does become available, because the proof is in the PRs. That I should say the PRs that we're not directly getting. We're getting yeah. So give me your thoughts.
Look, I'll start by saying I believe we're going to be pink current, and then the C will come off, and I don't know exactly when, but I believe it's all going to happen. And I honestly, in my 17 plus years experience in the OTC markets, I believe this is going to be like the turnaround story of like the OTC markets. Like, I mean, look, I don't talk to Mark very often. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, like, look, I do know that like he is trying to get this done. I don't know that, like, look, he'll probably be mad that I said this, but I don't know that he always hires the best people, because some people like to be in the same city as the person that they hire. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to live in New Mexico and hire a lawyer that lives in Arizona. Like, you know what I mean? Because you never ever sit in a room with them. So like, I just think that like the last person that was supposed to handle this, like didn't do the best of jobs. I'm not pointing fingers, but I guess I sort of am. I do believe that, like, unfortunately, and this isn't a criticism, but it's just the facts, I do believe that there's a lot more pressing business to CYBL right now than the caveat emptor and pink current. Not that they didn't file all their financials. Now, I'm sure they're doing it, and I'm sure OTC Markets is running them through the ringer, quite honestly. But I just think it's going to get done. Like, it's going to get done. I mean, look, if they had no intentions of it happening, they wouldn't have filed all these recent filings. They would just stop. They would do what OPTEC, OPTI did. They would just stop filing all their financials, stop spending the money. Why would you do it? Look, I mean, Mark isn't he's not trying to screw anybody over. And, people criticize the revenue and the fact that it wasn't as much. But, like, look, the guy said that in 2023. All anyone's seen is the first 2 quarters of 2022 or 2023. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, like, look, governments and government orders, government contracts, whatever, they're it's cash on delivery. It's paid upon delivery. Like, you don't get paid up front. That's the whole beauty of doing business with governments. So they want to know it's a real company, that you can afford to finance the production of all this stuff before they give you any money. And like, that's that's like what's happening. I mean, but like last time I saw and I spoke to Mark, I mean, he was He was flying out to, Europe or wherever he was going the next day. I mean, the guy is working hard. He's working. I mean, I firmly believe that the revenue will be there this year. I firmly believe that like the money will be there for the stock buyback program. And I firmly believe that we will become pig current and the caveat emptor removed. I mean, like that. Do I know an exact date? I mean, I would have thought, honestly, I can't believe it's not off yet. I honestly can't. I mean, look, and I'm as shocked as everybody else, because I've been doing this a long time, and I've had other companies that got the CE for various reasons. Like, one time some stock promotion website picked up this company and they got the caveat emptor because they thought it was being promoted or something. I mean, but like I've seen it come off, but I've just never seen it like take this long. Like, you know what I mean? I've never seen it, I also do believe that like OTC markets is very, very backed up. And I'm not making excuses for this because it should already be done 100%. But like the summer in the finance game and the stock market game is not exactly known as busy time. So like the summer is kind of like when everyone takes their vacation, everyone's kids are out of school, everyone goes somewhere, like, and I'm not making excuses, but I am just trying to like show you guys that, like, let's just say you do a reverse split the first week of December, or some corporate action, or not a reverse split, some kind of corporate action. It'll be approved in like 4 days because there's no one doing anything in December. Do you understand what I mean? But if let's say you try to get your audit done, hey, you submit your stuff on March 7th, and you need it done by August 15th or April 15th. They're going to be like, are you guys kidding me right now? Like, you just gave me this stuff. I have 4 weeks to do this. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. So, I mean, see, OTC markets is backed up, but at the same time, like, I do believe that CYBL has filed all the stuff. Does OTC markets have questions about this stuff? Sure. It has nothing to do with revenue. I promise you that much. I will 100% state that. People have been writing me messages. I think it's because the revenue was low and OTC markets wants to see that they have more revenue. That's all bullshit. That doesn't make anything. How many OTC companies even have any revenue, let alone, I mean, like,
I was going to say, like, there's zeros across the board for some of these shell companies.
Exactly. So, like, come on, like, the OTC markets doesn't give a shit about revenue. They don't care about this. The preferred stock and all that stuff, and disclosing the names of the people and all that stuff, that has nothing to do with it either. Zero, like, absolutely zero. Do I know the reason? No. And look, I've spent hours and hours and hours of my time, and so is my lawyer, so is other people, going over their filings and trying to find the problems. And like, my lawyer was like a caveat emptor removal specialist, and when I say that, I actually really mean that. He's gotten the caveat emptor off of countless like stocks, and he can't figure out what the problem is either. So like, look, I did get a message from one guy, and I apologize about not giving you credit for this because I can't remember the name who it was right now. But he mentioned that almost all of the government providers of like drones or war weapons or whatever the fuck it is, like something with the war, they all have like either the yield sign, the caveat emptor, like, you know what I mean? Like something like that. Like they're not allowing like, I mean, look, this is all speculation. I mean, I'm just saying, but like, it's almost like they don't want defense contractors or anything having to do with a war on there. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he gave me 3 other examples of companies, and I don't have the thing in front of me, and I apologize, but like, I'll post it on Twitter or something so everyone can see. But I looked them up, and it's so true. And like, they kind of got the caveat emptor in the same fashion that CYBL did, and it was right after they announced that they were a government contractor. See, like, what I don't understand about CYBL is, I mean, I'm assuming that like OTC Markets has the Wall Street Journal or at least has heard of it. Okay, like, so you have to see that like there was a huge full page article in the Wall Street Journal with Mark, a picture, the whole 9 yards. I mean, like, it's on the Department of Defense website. It's on.
It is.
I mean, look, and I know everybody already knows all this, but like at some point, just saying it like this makes it sound ridiculous. Like the government is buying, or however many, 8,000 or however the fuck many drones it is. I mean, you're talking about like hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you think that the government is writing hundreds of millions of dollars of checks to scam companies? I mean, look, not that it hasn't happened before. I mean, everyone knows.
Get the hell out of here, Brett. Why the hell are you tanking the share price?
Correct. Exactly. And just for the record, I'll publicly state this: I have not sold one single share of CYBL.
There it is.
Since this Caveat Emptor thing, since before the Caveat Emptor thing, like nothing, not even one single share. I mean,
yeah. And Dwayne had a question about could it be Montague? Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Restricted shares.
So Montague Capital is owned by a guy named or run by a guy named Dennis Kalenja. Okay, who there was a picture posted on Twitter. I wasn't at the meeting because I was at the World Series of Poker at the time. Deborah was there with Mark and Dennis. Montague Capital is a fully registered and fund. You can look them up. You can see their investments. They're fully registered with the SEC. You can check them out. So is Dennis. Okay, you can check all of this out. You can go look it up. Okay. He has been Dennis Kalenja is Albanian. Okay, he basically created a ton of business in the beginning for CYBL. Okay, he's very friendly. He's not an affiliate. He's not an insider. He's not a whatever of the company. Not an officer director. He is very friendly. He has set up several contracts, several businesses like that stuff. And the fact that he has those shares isn't about him getting rich. Like, not to be a dick, he's already rich. Okay, he doesn't care. Okay, but what I mean is like it really is a poison pill. And I know that people like have different interpretations of what a poison pill is and like blah, blah, blah. But like, remember, like, let's just say you're a NASDAQ company. Let's just say I'm Amazon, okay? Or you're Amazon. And I'm some I'm a trillionaire, okay? I come in and I buy 51% control of Amazon. I now control Amazon. I'm now in charge. There's no more Jeff Bezos. There's no more like anything. I'm now in charge of Amazon. You understand? Like, that's how it works in the real stock market. So like these poison pills and these stuff that they have set up like this are set up to protect this from happening, okay? From someone coming in. Because like, look, let's just take a look at the market cap right now of CYBL. What is it? Well, I don't even fucking look at it, so I really have no idea. Let's just say the stock is what, 001. I have no idea what it is, okay? Let's just say 001. Okay, so the market cap's what, 600 grand? I could buy CYBL for $600,000. I mean, I've wired $600,000 to companies in the last 48 hours. I mean, think about this. Like, I mean, I could buy the whole company. Oh my God. This poison pill is super important right now. No one understands how important it is right now. It's keeping anyone from taking over a company who has $100 million in government contracts for drones for a matter of $575,000.
And they wouldn't know what to do with it, most likely.
I would have already bought it if I could do it for $575. I promise you, I would have. There would be a check at Mark's door already. Okay, so this whole thing with Montague and stuff and Dennis, look, is it the best situation in the world? No. Is it the worst situation in the world? Far from it. Okay, it is not bad. It is not. Dennis has other shares. Like everyone has shares. Like no one's trying to convert these into common, and everyone keeps focusing on the fact that like, oh, it could be 3 billion shares of common. It's never gonna happen. And even if it was, that would automatically make you an affiliate of the company. You can only sell 1% of the issued and outstanding every 90 days, which would mean that you could sell what, 55 million shares every 90 days. That wouldn't even matter. No one would even notice.
Yeah, the volume would eat that up
completely. So I mean, like, look, I still have complete faith in Mark Schmidt and what he's doing. Like I do. I mean, look, governments, the CIA, the NSA, whatever, whoever. I don't know anything about the government contracts. I'm sorry, I don't even know but what I mean is like whatever like government agencies are doing business with him, or like Ukraine, whatever the hell it is. They're doing it for a reason. And it's not just because like there's the technology. Like, remember, like there's a lot of people that make drones. There's a lot of people that, do whatever. But like these are obviously better than the other ones. And dealing with Mark Schmidt and dealing with CYBL is also better than the ones. The last time I spoke to Mark Schmidt, I asked him, I said, hey, look, is the Caveat Emptor like causing any problems with like, these government contracts? Is the government saying like, hey, look, what is this poison symbol on your stock? Like, do you know what I mean? He says they couldn't care less about it. It doesn't even factor in. They don't even really care that they're public. So it's like, it's not impeding any of their deals. It's not stopping their revenue. It's not doing anything. It's literally causing a problem for people like you and all of me, me and all of us. And it sucks, like, because like, look, I mean, like, everyone's watched their investment go down 90% or 95% or whatever the hell the math is. I mean, look, if you put yourself in a situation where people can only sell the stock and they can't buy it, I mean, like, what do you expect is going to happen? I mean, you guys all remember GameStop. You know, I mean, like, I'm not equating it to that, but like, remember, like, when Robinhood no longer allowed you to buy GameStop, but you were allowed to sell it, that caused a lot of problems. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And like, look, I've been like reaching out to OTC markets, and I have a call tomorrow with them, with OTC markets. Do I think they're going to tell me anything? Probably not. But I am trying to figure out generically, like, through hypotheticals, like what needs to be done, so I can tell exactly, like, you know, so I can make sure that it happens. Because like, look, I'm not doing this for all of you guys. I'm not doing this for Buffalo Fireside Chats. I'm not doing anything, not to be like a dick, but I'm doing this for me. Okay, like, I have millions of dollars invested in this company. The difference is we all win if I win.
Greetings to our Eyeless and QIND shareholders. I just wanted to give you a very brief update specifically regarding the planned uplisting of QIND to the NYSE American. So it'll just be a quick rapid fire update. You know, I'm in between meetings. There really isn't enough hours in the day at the moment, but I do want to make sure you're up to speed with the latest progress. And, you know, for me personally, it's important to take the time to keep you informed. We will, however, do a detailed update on both Eyeless and QIND once this QIND S1 is filed, which should be very soon. And in that detailed update, we're very keen to share some important and exciting ERT news, you know, some of the Serbia progress, and really just provide you with a full business update. But as said, for now, let me update you on the QIND side of things. The audit of the new fiscal year period is complete. Our S1 is complete. It has been complete for some time now, and it's sitting with the investment bank as they go through their own internal box ticking process before the filing. So from our side, our attorneys, Lukowski Brookman, are happy with the S1. Our capital markets advisors are happy with the S1. So it's really just a wait for the investment bank to complete their side. Now, we did hope to file the S1 by the end of last week. However, with that holiday weekend and people taking time off, it turned out it wasn't possible. However, you know, things have certainly picked up quickly this week as people have come back to work yesterday. So with the progress we're now seeing on the investment bank side, I would expect that we can file the S1 very soon. And then just to quickly recap the process for once the S1 is filed, the SEC will review it and they may provide comments to it. However, we're of course hoping that there'll be no comments or perhaps only a few. Of course, it is the SEC, so there's no telling how long their process will take. However, from the moment the S1 is filed, we'll be on that clock counting down towards S1 effectiveness and, of course, the corresponding NYSE American uplist. So we're hoping that it would take 30 to 45 days for S1 effectiveness, and then after effectiveness, we'll set an uplist date and we'll, of course, announce it to yourselves. And then we'll commence a roadshow with our investment bank for a period of up to 2 weeks where we virtually present our business to investors. And then after that, the uplist would take place. So we believe, based on advice and of course looking at other companies which have followed a similar path to ours, we should see demand ramp up somewhat once our S1 is filed. Probably more so once it's effective, but we believe it would especially ramp up during the roadshow as we present institutional investors with the opportunity that they now too will be able to invest in, right? For now, though, we've made a lot of progress over the last few weeks. You know, just one example is getting the new fiscal year audited in such a short space of time. And there's also been a lot of improvements made in the QIND business as a whole. And we're now looking forward to just getting that S1 filed very soon. Of course, you know, we know that this entire process over the last few months has been extensive. I know it's frustrating for many shareholders and, you know, of course, it's taking longer than expected overall. And we do feel that, you know, frustration all too well ourselves at the helm of it. You know, but that being said, we're now entering the prime period for an uplist. Well, at least assuming that there'll be no macroeconomic catastrophes in the near term. But it is that time of year when investors are refreshed and really the sector as a whole is eager to get deals done between now and Thanksgiving. So traditionally, this is a good period of business, which makes it a good time for an uplist. And of course, I get that that doesn't suitably replace any frustration due to the length of time all these processes take, but it is a very real positive for the business itself, which requires demand from institutional investors for its growth. And that's the reality. You know, it really is a good time for the business itself. But that's just a quick status update on QIND itself. And once the S1 is filed, I look forward, I know Nick also looks forward to providing a detailed update on the different Eyeless business divisions and how they're progressing. And as I mentioned, of course, there's some super exciting ERT news, which we look forward to sharing. And it really is the culmination of work going on in the background out of sight for some time now. So we're, of course, looking forward to sharing that with yourselves. But that's it for now, I think. We'll get the S1 filed, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon, most likely in a joint podcast with Nick. But once again, I really want to thank you for your ongoing support. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So have a good week, and we'll speak soon. Bye.
All right, George, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
There's too much. I don't even know that I've honestly processed it like a traumatic event. Obviously,
just put out a tweet.
Yeah, obviously a positive traumatic event, but traumatic nonetheless. No, I just wanted to touch on something that Alonzo said that I think was very important, which was integrity. When we have the guests on, I think that one of the maybe overlooked things is by having these live shows and having the interactions that you do with the CEOs, you really get an opportunity to see that integrity, to get to see below the surface a little bit and how they answer the questions and how they conduct themselves and how they feel about, where we are and where we're going. And taking responsibility and, looking towards the future, but appreciating what you've done wrong in the past is exactly who I want, running my OTC companies. And so I really appreciate, them doing that. Nick Coriano came out from 3DX. Brett's given up his valuable time. We've got Gene popping in here, just always seems to have some great news and is doing amazing things. I think it's very important, and that often gets overlooked in things like, where the share price is, and that's good and bad, or other metrics, like in the case of Sybil with a caveat emptor, where this feels very much to me, and again, this is just speculation, but it feels very much to me like they don't really want to have to deal with any potential, like somebody runs the price down and makes this company fail when they need it to be operating right now because it's doing work. And so it bodes well, but man, a note or a memo would be nice for shareholders because the only options they have are to hold, which appears to be the correct option, or to sell for a huge loss, which nobody wants to do that since nobody can add, right? But getting back to Eyeless.
I'm telling you, dude. Let's tell your good news right now. Get into it, man. Because I've known this was going to go on for a couple weeks now. I knew what you've been working on, but I don't want it to come from my lips. I want you to share with the BFC.
No, yeah, and again, I just want to thank Brett for bringing it up. Is that I really care about Eyeless as a company. I think that the officers and the company are doing a great job, and I really want to support them in any way I can. Well, because of the macroeconomic times that we're in right now, the best way that you can support them is directly by contacting the company and saying, hey, I wanted to, see if you needed some money, I want some shares. And so we were able to work out a deal. Now, what we talked about before is it's very important that everybody understands that this is an option that is available to retail that I don't think that many people ever, take the opportunity to do. And getting back to what you spoke about earlier with the BFC Capital, this is where the power of groups using or leveraging the power of larger amounts of money can really, really shine. $500 to $1,000 probably traditionally is not something that most companies want to go through the rigmarole of actually doing everything. But just by forming a club or a group with friends or family or like-minded individuals at work, all of a sudden now you guys can all throw in $2,000 and now you have enough money that the company really wants to invest with you.
And that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be great.
Well, that's what I did. And that's the news. So, I was able to get 5,555,556 shares of Eyeless. In addition to that, I was able to give them some cash that hopefully they'll be able to use in a variety of ways to increase shareholder value. And the nice thing about, being able to do this and be able to share this on your channel, and I appreciate you for that, is it's helpful to everyone to be able to show how you really feel about a company, right? To be able to express, hey, this is what I'm doing. This, it does not guarantee future results. These are only my opinions. This is just how I see things playing out. But now with, the S1 and that great update from JP and seeing all the news there, it feels like we're, a month and a half to 2 months away from the QIND uplist. And so weirdly, or at least very, very much the contrast, I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to get my money into Eyeless. And I see other people that are nervous that they think Eyeless is bad because the share price is down. And I just find that eminently fascinating. That, two people can be on such completely different ends of the spectrum looking at the exact same events. But
it's the glass half full, glass half empty, perspective. It really is.
Yeah, no, and I think that I want to thank the company and JP, Nick, and everybody that works there, Louise specifically, because I think it gets lost in translation what's actually happening, right? How amazing a job they're doing. And this actually carries over to a lot of people that you have on your channel, is that people are not always taking into account the great work that's being done. What you have to, or at least what I believe that you have to focus on, is when you can find companies that are so undervalued, as most of these are, because of the recession, because of the macroeconomic conditions, because of the fact that everything's down a bunch. But in addition to that, being fledgling companies and not being overvalued to begin with, not trading at multiples of whatever earnings are, makes it almost impossible to be overpaying right now. So if you can find the companies that are going to have a bright future and have the ability to survive, which, listening to Brett, and thank you for his wisdom, so many don't, because they don't have that availability to funds that they need to operate. That if you can pick the ones that you feel will survive into the next bull cycle, you're going to do very well.
This is probably a very contingent based on the part, but John Don did have a question. What is the approximate profit margin on the average part manufactured? So, the average of it, what would you say?
Manufactured subtractive or with additive?
Additive, I think he's asking.
Additive. Okay, it's an additive-based question. I just wanted.
So, by the way, for anybody listening, additive means 3D printing, right? So a lot of people don't know that, but go ahead.
No, let me preface that a little bit by in subtractive machining, when you're making a part, if you're running a 20% net profit, you're a rock star. A lot of companies don't even run that tight. If you're like perfect, you may get 35%. From our records of printing parts, and we've actually recently run the numbers on this and looked at the margins on all the jobs. We're running over 60% net profit. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot. The technology is easier to use. When you hire a machinist, you have to have a guy that's highly skilled. Not that we don't need some skilled people on the print lab, but we can run. Actually, as I'm speaking, that machine's been running for 3 hours and nobody stood in front of it right now. It's running in the other room behind me.
And I'll put up
beauties of it.
I'll put up a picture actually of what they're making. They're making some objects, some tokens for the annual shareholder meeting, and Roger sent me a picture. So after we get off here, I'll post it on 3DX Twitter. So if you guys all head over to 3DX Twitter on June 7th, 8:30 at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, you'll see exactly what Roger's talking about.
Rock and roll. That 60%. That's impressive, man. Seriously. Harold, now that you're here, I could say.
Yes, sir.
So now there was a position created for you for acquisitions. I want you to talk a little bit about your role in 3DX. I mean, there's nothing that gets the OTC really excited than acquisitions and the fact that you have the potential to add value to 3DX industry. So explain your role and what you sort of where you see the future taking you here, sir.
Absolutely. So thanks so much, Eric. So the role I initially had when I first joined this great company was leading and heading up acquisitions. And so that focus was with regard to acquiring smaller shops, almost looking at it as of doing bolt-ons and add-ons to the platform company of 3DX Industries. And since then, it's actually morphed into taking on another hat and helping with regard to business development in the government sector, but still having the focus of also looking at potential acquisitions and opportunities. Because again, that's the way to accelerate growth is buying up other companies and businesses that already have infrastructure, established customer base, and also the human capital in place.
So yeah, absolutely. And do you see yourself? And I'm this is directed towards Harold, because well, your acquisitions, but this is sort of all you guys too. Really maximizing the return on the acquisitions that you're setting out to achieve. And I'm just going to say and I'm not going to say, you guys do have a beautiful share structure. And I know based on previous conversations with Nick, you want to do everything to make sure you retain that share structure, especially when acquiring. Do you guys, and I'm just whimming this right now. So, are you looking for those companies, and do you see yourself retaining that nice share structure while retaining profitable companies with a customer base, a strong customer base, and somebody that, companies that have a steady team behind them as well, where the turnover rate, we're not inheriting a company that has a turnover rate where you're replacing people constantly. So tell me a little bit about how you see it positively affecting maybe the share structure.
So I'll take this one. So, right now we're really focused on pure play in-house additive manufacturing. Not saying that acquisitions have taken a back seat. Me and Harold look at acquisitions every day. They come into our inbox every day. But we're really focused on organic growth. If we do an acquisition, it'll definitely have, almost little to no effect on the cap structure. The last acquisition that didn't really pan out for us was structured in a way that really wouldn't affect our market cap at all, because it was a note payable. So me and Harold are confident that, if we shop acquisitions or if we find the right company, we're not going to affect the cap structure, because a good acquisition, you don't need to bleed out by paying through shares, right? Because a good acquisition will spit out enough cash that we can buy it with the cash that it's spitting out. Now, acquisitions are easy in theory. They're really easy in a textbook. They're a little bit more difficult in real life. Acquisitions are actually easy. It's integration that's hard. And, it's one of the challenges that we've had. But I like to think of acquisitions in two ways. One is acquiring whole businesses, and one is acquiring top talent. And we've been in acquisition mode, acquiring top talent since the beginning. And we continue to do that, from, material scientists and Peter Devone, a chemical engineer, to Harold with his background in government contracting. Roger has a few other names over there on the machine shop side that we definitely acquired. But, right now, if we do an acquisition, it'll be healthy enough that it wouldn't affect the cap structure.
Right on. That's amazing. That's what I want to hear as a shareholder. Yes, I am a shareholder. George's a shareholder. We're shareholders.
We're all shareholders.
Yeah, we are all shareholders here. So, I'm rooting for you guys 100%. I want to see this thing take off, because especially, I know the first time we talked, it was a couple months back, I had you on the show, Nick, and you and I went out for an hour, 40 minutes. It was a great podcast. And if you want some good information, yeah, I started off our relationship by telling him that he has motivational thumbs on Twitter, which is pretty funny, actually. But
I love that. I'm trying to throw a couple more jokes on Twitter. I think people are getting bored of the motivation, so I'm gonna throw a few more jokes in there.
I forgot what you said the other day, but it was pretty damn funny. but no, but we talked about the government contracts, and I brought that up, and you said that was definitely something. So to see Harold step into that role with his experience, I'm excited to hear about that. And like I said, when you hear and I hate to say just OTC, but in general, in companies and investing, whether you're on the NASDAQ or wherever you are, when you hear government contracts and things aligning with the DOD or the Department of Education or anything related like that, that's huge for investors. And sometimes that's a green flag that says these guys are doing something right. So you guys obviously want to position yourself accordingly. So I gotta ask Roger, pinball? Tell us a little bit about that. I was laughing, and you saw my tweet.
Pinball.
Yes. So
That's great.
This is actually, you know what's interesting about this? It's interesting you brought this up, Eric. This is a large 3D printed pinball paddle that was given to me by a company called Planetary Pinball Supply. And it was a local show, and I make sure when there's something that's interesting that's in my neighborhood, I'm there. I'm handing out cards. I'm talking to people. I'm meeting people. I want to understand the industries. And looking a little bit more into it, is the pinball industry huge? No, but it's about 50 million a year. And there's still a lot of brand new pinball machines made. A lot are being repaired. There's a lot of parts that have been around for a long time. I get a call today out of the blue from the CEO of Planetary Pinball Supply named Rick, because I handed out, we have a little van that we hand out. I had a metal printed van. When I go somewhere, I'm handing stuff out like candy. It's metal printed parts. And he goes, we use a lot of 3D printed plastic parts. He says they have the rights to all the Williams and Bally's pinballs in the world to repair parts and make new ones. And he says, we've never thought about metal printed parts. He says, I'm very intrigued with this. And that's how that starts. Is it going to be as big customer as Boeing? Probably not, but it's going to be a great customer. We're starting that relationship, and they're excited to look at things they can do with metal that supports their machines. But it's an interesting, I've never been to a pinball convention before. If there's one in your neighborhood, it was a lot of fun.
You sort of look like you've never been to a pinball convention before.
I actually met the pinball wizard. He was there.
Yeah, that was funny. And I said, it's like, there's the pinball convention going on, and then instead of where's Waldo, it's like, where's Roger Jansen? And then like there you are right in the front. No, but the kudos to you, because that's kind of network thing that you need. And who would think that, like, and this is the thing, a pinball company isn't going to buy a metal printer because they're a lot of freaking money. And so then they go to 3DX Industries and are able to print some of these parts that are discontinued possibly. And so it's not even just like about the revenue at that point. That is just pure uniqueness right there.
Well, I think, I want to add on to that. There's a famous quote in business say there's riches and niches, so there's riches and niches. And that pinball thing, while that's not our target, and, as Roger said, it probably won't bring us as much money as a customer like Boeing or Halliburton or, other manufacturers. What's interesting is that there's a certain segment of the market, kind of like the pinball industry, that they can't find the parts anymore. And we've had a lot of conversations in the back about this, right? That 1980s pinball machine that needs to get redone, and the guy's a millionaire and he just wants it back because he was in grammar school with that thing, and he's willing to pay anything for that part. It's a perfect application, and we found several niches like this, whether it's, for example, restoration of old vehicles, right, or restoration of the Ferrari. You can't go to AutoZone and buy that part for your Ferrari. Right, you're gonna have to remake that part, or your 1930 Corvair, right? Whatever the car is. So that the pinball industry is just one of many industries that there's niches where they need these parts. They're not making them anymore, and at the end of the day, it's all parts, right? Pinball, airplanes, cars, trains. It's all parts. It's all parts, and we make parts. So it is exciting to see that, and I'm sure Roger had fun. I wish I was there.
Well, that's great, Nick. Thank you for that. But the other thing that's a really interesting point that you want to remember in manufacturing, a lot of companies set up and they're dedicated to the oil and gas industry or the airplane industry or the waterworks department. In additive manufacturing, everyone, that Studebaker door handle, that pinball flipper lever, that tooling piece for the aircraft motor, the food machine processing part, they can all be in one build box. And that's really interesting itself, because there's really no tooling costs. But the real beauty of that is we're diversified amongst many industries. If something happens and they outlaw automobiles tomorrow, if you're making automobile parts, it doesn't really matter. We can turn quite quickly and grab business from another sector, because every sector can use additive manufacturing parts.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you get something out of this. I really do. I hope that you guys are finding solid information for some of these companies that we're watching. And that's all I got. Hey, off to the grind. Talk to you later. Peace out.